Hi, everybody. This is Caroline, and I'm very excited to host this event. We have just celebrated a few weeks ago a new partnership with Suomen Ekonomit, and we have together with me from IWWOF, Priyanka Banerjee, and as well from Suomen Ekonomit, Nina Juhava and Ted Apter. Ted and Nina are going to tell us more about the services and history of Suomen Ekonomit. And then together with Priyanka, they will give a bit more details about some of the activities that we are planning. We will try to keep this session in 30 minutes, but let's see, we have a lot of things to discuss. And I give the floor now to Ted and Nina to introduce themselves.
Okay, thank you. Shall I start? Okay, so nice to meet all of you. My name is Nina Juhava. I work as a career coach at Suomen Ekonomit, and I have been working here now for 8 years. And before that, I was working 15 years as a consultant in the recruitment business and in the outplacement business. So I think I know the companies in Finland pretty well, the different types of companies. And I'm very excited to, in everything that is international. I have been living 9 years abroad, so I'm very, very excited to be here. And actually, I joined your community today, so thank you for accepting me on Facebook. 6,500 altogether, I think you are. So I'm very happy to be here. Ted, please.
Great. Thanks for my side for everybody participating today. My name is Ted Apter. Been working for around 4.5 years for Suomen Ekonomit, and my title is special advisor in industrial policy, but more or less that's lobbying in lots of different ways. And today, me and Nina are gonna present what we do, a bit about some myths related to the Finnish labor market and trade unions and stuff like that, and then also go to details about why we do things together and what we could maybe do in the future. But if you have any questions, just feel free to ask during the presentation. Just getting started then, just double check, you can see the presentation, right?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so we're gonna go through this intro and leaping
if you can go in
forward.
Presentation mode though, now we see.
Oh, okay, you see it's still in that way. There we go. Should get it showing me it. Maybe if I do it like this, then there, now it should do it.
Yes, perfect, thank you.
Great. So just warming up a bit, some myths about trade unions, which Suomen Ekonomit is also one. One thing to notice is that there's a very high unionization rate. That's saying in Finland, a lot of people are members of trade unions. Approximately 70% of all of the people who are highly educated belong to one of Akava's affiliates, meaning trade unions. The unions supervise interests of the members, and they advocate both on a national level and also an international level. And then they're among key influencing actors in society. Both employer side and employee side central organizations tend to be regarding to everybody some of the most influential actors in society. They influence a lot of different things. And we have this thing called the tripartite system, which is still active, although a bit more limited than 10 years ago, meaning that together the government and then the leading employer and employee side organizations figure out things to do, for instance, for pensions, social security, how to change work life. And if you think about inclusion and diversity in work life, this is one of the things that is kind of like underneath things that these in the three-part system have been tending to cooperate with. The Akava affiliates are non-politically party aligned. That's stating also for Ekonomit. And as they're outside of the political business cycle, not going through elections every now and then, they've tended to focus on a more long-term decision making. Quickly about Akava, it's the umbrella organization for all highly educated people in Finland. 36 affiliates, the fourth biggest is Suomen Ekonomit. The leader for Akava right now is our ex-labor market chief from the same thing where I work now. and around 80% of members have a bachelor degree at least, so they're highly educated. Half work in private sector, half in public, and a quarter have managerial positions, 50% hold expert positions, and then the last quarter work in education. And it's not a group of old men, stating that the average age currently for Akava members is 33 years old. I've actually been 2 years chairperson for the student section, where I represented a bit over 100,000 members, but this is years ago. Then about numbers and strength, Ekonomit states for around 56,000 members currently. Akava is a bit over 600,000, but just Ekonomit is also for employers. We have employee side members. We have 1,600 entrepreneurs as our members. And back in the days with tech, we founded something called AKU, loosely translated to academic entrepreneurs, that has around 16,000 entrepreneurs members inside these trade unions. And this AKU is a member of Suomen Yrittäjät, the Finnish entrepreneurs, and it's their biggest sector organization. So for instance, through AKU, Ekonomit and Tech has a seat in the board of Finnish entrepreneurs. So we're rather connected to all of the different parts in society. And then we could give Nina the floor.
Yes, thank you, Ted. So what is Suomen Ekonomit? And please, next slide. So the purpose of our being is really to creating better work-life conditions. So that is really the development and the creation is, and there are different type of things that we do. And the next slide. So Suomen Ekonomit, the Finnish business school graduates. So why we prefer maybe to use more Suomen Ekonomit instead of the English name, the Finnish business school graduates, is that you don't have to be Finnish to be our member, but you have to be a business school graduate. So, or you have to be a business school student. And as Ted already told you, we have approximately 56,000 members, so 33,000 graduates and 23,000 students. And we are really a social influencer. We are working with the education policy, the labor market influencing tax policy, social policy, and economic policy. So that is what we do. And the next slide, please. So this might be interesting for you. So how are our members doing in the working life? As you can see, they are doing pretty well. So altogether, 43% of our members work in the managerial position, in the manager positions. So 6% work in the executive management positions as the country managers or CEOs, and 15% in the management, and for 22% in the middle management. So our members are doing pretty well. And the next slide. And also the salary levels of our members are pretty good in the Finnish standards. So when you graduate from the university, so the median salary is 3,200 euros. So that is what you can expect to get if you have a job that is relevant, regarding your education. So of course, if you do some other type of work, then you might not get that much salary. And of course, there are always some people who are working for less than 3,000 euros and some newly graduates that are getting much more. And after 5 years, what you can expect as a median salary is 4,200 euros in the month. And after 10 years, you can expect 5,200 euros per month. And after 20 years, you can expect to get 6,200 euros per month. And the median pay across our membership is, as you can see, is 5,020 euros per month. So that's, and I personally do give salary advice to our members. And especially when I'm talking together with the women, I advise them very strongly to go through the salary questions, because I can see very clearly that the men usually tend to ask for higher salaries than the women. So especially when the women are asking for salaries, so I advise them to, usually I advise them to ask for a little bit more.
Can I ask a very basic question? Maybe it's very stupid, but you said that it's the members for the Finnish business school graduates. So is it like some specific schools that are considered only for business schools, or from if you have business degree from any ammattikorkeakoulu or university, does that count as well as a business graduate?
Usually it's a university level degree. If you have this ammattikorkeakoulu, so then you can be a member of the Tradenomiliitto.
Okay.
Yeah. But many of you have graduated from the foreign universities, so of course then you're also eligible for our membership. Yes, of course, yeah. So you don't have to be Finnish to join us.
And there's also like some have done the bachelor's in Tradenomit, and then later on done the master's in the business schools and the university side, and those are eligible. And then also some have only done an MBA, but then they have a Finnish university, some other program, and that's also eligible nowadays for us.
Yeah. And you can also always ask us if you're eligible. So there are many such. Yeah. Okay. Next. Okay, then there is the median payoffs. Yeah, thinking where it was. Okay, so as I told you, we are also a community for international students and international talents, and we promote a more inclusive and diverse work life. And we do provide all our services in English language, all our personal services, so you can contact. We have 8 career coaches. We all speak English, and we have also all our lawyers, they speak English, but not all. Of course, our happenings might be, many of our happenings are in the Finnish language, but we are getting more and more services in English as well. So, and the next. So who can join, as I told you, university level degree. And when you become our member, you will also be a member of the COCO, the Unemployment Fund for Highly Educated People, and that is a great benefit if you get unemployed in Finland, so to be part of that fund. Yes. And the next one, and a few words about our career services. As I told you, we have 8 career coaches. We provide personal services, career coaching, salary advice, salary surveys. We do a salary survey every year, and a lot of networking events as well. So what would be a typical situation when I think of the people with foreign background? Would be maybe a person who contacts me. It might be a job seeking situation. A person, of course, many of the people who have a foreign background have very excellent skills in the Finnish language, but not all have excellent skills in the Finnish language. So when you don't have perfect skills or good skills in the Finnish language, what we then do, of course, we start to think which are the companies that have hired earlier people with international talents, and what are the startup companies, could they be relevant companies, and which are the headhunters that could be relevant for that person. So those questions that are specific to that person. And of course, those people who are students who have just recently entered Finland, so they also are very grateful for the general advice on how the companies in Finland, how they operate. So that would be a typical case. Yes, and the next one. So here are just a few examples of our services in English. We have this course, and actually Ted is one of the teachers on that course, which is Working Life Skills for Experts and Team Leaders. Ted, would you like to say a few words about that course, which is upcoming in November?
Yeah, this is a thing we've done for a couple of years, that for business students, we wanted to provide like a 101 on working life things, labor markets, but also how you apply for summer jobs, how you negotiate salaries, some basic specific things of the legal parts. First, we had around 20 participants, and then last year it was over 100. And we're doing it twice now, once in the autumn and once during spring, so we could reach out to even more people.
Yeah, thank you. And I personally, I work now with the Career Boost program. I have actually been working with that for several years, and that is so great because there I have met so many international, very, very talented people. So actually we are 9 unions that are members in that. So we provide services to those people who are looking for a new work. So before the Corona, before the COVID era, those groups were meeting in person, but now we have been doing something online, but actually now we are providing the whole service in digital environment. And we started the Finnish groups 3 weeks ago, and it seems that it's going to be a big success. So we are going to do the same thing actually for the foreign talents next year. So that is our plan, and it will be with we are using the same name, it's the Career Boost program. So it's going to be a 6-week-long program online. You will meet people online, so you can live in the Oulu region, or you can be in Greece, or anywhere, and you will every day on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you will have meetings, and you will then work together for 6 weeks. So that's the plan. Yeah, okay, and then so now Ted and me, we would like to hear what challenges do you face in working life, because we want to hear from you as well. So a few minutes. Do you have any questions or any comments? Or
so maybe you can write on the chat if anybody wants to add something from their experiences.
Mm-hmm.
Karo, you're on mute, sorry.
Sorry, I thought I unmuted. So whilst maybe some of the audience write questions in the chat, maybe a reflection on my personal experience, that I have to say I'm a business graduate myself,
Okay,
and I had never heard of you guys before we actually started those discussion, even though you're like, you know, the 4th biggest member of this AKAVA.
Yeah.
And I have to say, kind of generally speaking, one of the challenges that I think many internationals face in Finland is to really understand what are the unions, how do they operate, and what is the value that they can give. Because I can say myself, coming from the French culture, union is a completely different thing over there. It has a different role, and of course there are student unions and professional unions and things like that, but it's very political, and you have like multiple ones per profession or per field. It's very complex to understand like which one to join and how to get benefits. So I think this is great that you're doing this presentation today, and that we will continue at IWWOF to bring more light about what you guys are doing, because it is actually not self-obvious for internationals in Finland to understand actually what is the union and how you operate and what kind of benefits they can get from that. And of course, when you see that the internationals are one of the groups that face the most challenges in the work life in Finland, we probably would be one of the top groups that benefit from actually being members of a union, and can understand what is our legal rights, what are the avenues that we can get to support with the introduction to entrepreneurship, or what do we do with like CVs, and how do you attract companies to review your CVs and things like that. So I think this is very important.
I think that's a kind of like a good and broad comment, and some of those things I might actually be able to answer a bit like with the continuing of the presentation, but more in general, like I feel the same. And the more I've been talking with people from IWWOF or people from Inclusive or other organizations trying to help to bring more inclusion to Finland, the more it kind of looks like we've had maybe a blind spot there. I think it's partially because of the language barriers, both sides ways, and then partially because it's kind of weird to say it aloud, but I think it's for a lot of people still quite a new thing to have international talent in Finland. It shouldn't be, but it's like the case still now. And then trying to work from that, I like both on how well we reach out to the international students, but then the international talent that might have done their university degrees outside of Finland come from another country with different type of trade union culture. And then the Finnish one is maybe not like the first thing you get to know in Finland, like how it works. And then it's easy for us to kind of miss people also from that perspective.
Yeah, I totally agree with Karo, because that's why I asked the previous question about what schools and what degrees, because I did my MBA from Finland and I had no idea, like, are you eligible to be a part of any these kind of unions, because we've never had this kind of discussion in the university itself. So that is also like one of the things. And I also personally did not know that you also help people with struggles in the working in their work or finding employment. So that's really good to know, because probably a lot of members can use these services and help. So yeah.
And there's, for instance, like career services have different tools how they can see which companies are employing currently for certain types of jobs in a certain type of area. So that's like helpful, especially for people with less networks and know-how of where they should apply and how to do it.
Thank you so much.
I have a comment, very brief, because for my own project and own startups, I interviewed pretty many experts, international experts, who were basically forced to choose entrepreneurial path because they had very big challenges in terms of getting employed with current degrees, and degrees could be from educational field, I don't know, medical sector, like, I don't know, some engineers, etc. But they were forced to become an entrepreneurs. So in this case, of course, they can join your program, because even though, like me myself, my first education was in different country, but my master's degree I received in Finland, but it's in the field of education and technology. But it was not like valuable, or I don't know, like it's just like really hard for a foreigner to find the work in this field. So I was also kind of forced to choose an entrepreneurial path, and I know hundreds of people like me who didn't even like dream or aim for originally to end up as an entrepreneur, but doing it right now full time.
Yeah. But it's okay. But it's of course it's sad to hear that. Okay, the forced. You should always choose the entrepreneurship if you are interested in that type. But of course, it's the same. Partly, it's the same problem challenge with the Finnish people. So if you are getting unemployed, so some of those people also, our members, they then choose the entrepreneurship, not because it's not their first choice, but it's their second choice. So of course, I always encourage and hope that the people will do whatever is their first choice. Yeah, but we are trying our best to help all the people. Yeah.
Thank you. I just had a comment, sorry about that you have requirements that your members must be graduates of either MBAs or business programs, but many of entrepreneurs doesn't have the business education, but they're working in Finland as a full-time entrepreneurs.
But then there's the Finnish entrepreneurs, Suomen Yrittäjät, which is also one like
Yeah.
way to go, and they have legal services also, and that may be like one route to help. I know they've been trying to emphasize that they want to have more international entrepreneurs to become their members also, and this is like a growing theme in all organizations.
Yeah.
I'll skim some of the rest slides. We don't have to go through all of them, but just about the lobbying perspective also, which is more like my playing field. From thinking of lobbying, a lot of people either have a negative or some connotation, but from my perspective, it's just sharing information and solutions. And then you have decision makers who then think what they want, but they have more information. And that's from a Finnish MEP on the left corner, how she feels about lobbying, which is good. And then there's of course lobbying, which is bad. We try to focus on the lobbying, which is good. Some of the programs we've been writing ourselves, we've been putting up growth company goals, and inside those, I'm going to show you soon, a lot of them focus on international talent and students. Then we do our government program goals. We're currently writing those for the next government program on what we would think should be part of them. We published an Akava growth program where there's some chapter about international talent and how Akava sees on what we should do. And I'm currently writing proposals to a renewed Akava immigration policies, which is really like broadly policy making suggestions from their side. And if you have concrete suggestions to that, you can contact me and then we can check if there's something we could maybe take aboard.
Yes, so I think that today we, of course, don't have the time to open them up, but I think it's very good that you have this slide and gave the short introduction, because then we have just launched this partnership. We don't have all the answers yet, but we are starting to see where we could have these synergies, and this is where then we will open up each of these topics one by one as time goes, and then we see how we align, where we have already a lot of common values that we know, but how we can concretely then collect the proposals from our community and then transpose that into this lobbying work that you are doing. So I think this is very good also for our community to understand what are the different actions that you are trying to drive, and then we will little by little, one by one, put our imprint also on that. But perhaps for today, I think we should move to the call for action, perhaps. If you can go through this one briefly, and after that,
I'll just jump over some of these then.
Time to wrap up.
We did a survey to our international members, and just in the middle, they highlighted that the most important things for them with regards to getting employed has been networking with locals. And there's one suggestion to that I'm going to bring up later on. These are things on the left, what the tech industry has had of self-reported experiences from immigrants on what's been the negative experience of working lives. And on the right side is what we actually do as Ekonomit, for instance, and especially for our members. And a lot of those are things that would help international talent the more we did, and the more we would have also international talent as members. And this same goes through all the trade unions. So it's not just Ekonomit. And because of this, like just understanding kind of like that a lot of the trade unions inside Akava are related to what the educational degrees are. And from that, like checking out what could be a possible trade union for one is really important. Jumping to this, like the reasoning behind us, like why we want to partner with IWWOF and already did it, is that we've been talking about and promoting diverse and inclusive labor market since the born of Ekonomit. We've just not used those terms 80 years ago. And like gender equality has maybe been a more thing, like a bigger thing in the beginning of it, but it's broadened up quite a lot. But still, there's a lot of things we don't really understand, and there's a lot of know-how you have that you can help us. And of course, like if you, for instance, need consultation and stuff like that, then we're ready to compensate for it. But the point being that there's a lot of know-how and there's a lot of like interests that could be served better the more we understood each other. Then also trying to kind of like just help organizations broadly that want to focus on these problems, because this is a really big thing for Finland also, like how we figure out things here. And we're focusing as Finland to try to attract more international talent and students. And that's also something that we're interested as Economit to do. And then like helping us become more attractive could also be interesting for us. Here's briefly about what we've done so far, and what we're gonna do next. The concrete next steps are that after this webinar, in the end of this month, the next Economit magazine comes out and goes to our 56,000 members. And there's gonna be a longer article in that magazine about recruiting international talent. There's the case from Ellis talking a bit about how they've done practices. And then there's also the big picture about work and study related migration. And then there's a business student graduate from Ghana who's talking about his experiences and what's been the problems and obstacles and going through that. And we also try to highlight better in the future the stories and narratives from international talent themselves. So it wouldn't be just like the up, top down type of an approach. We're doing a diversity and inclusion webinar in the end of November. And then we have dates to be settled on an HR and job seeker workshop and a panel discussion. And then the next steps after that are yet to be considered. Here's a couple of thoughts about those. If you have suggestions to the Juhava policy program now or later, this is going to be a topic for the next 10 years. So either like quick and acute, or then later on, that's one way. A thought that came to my mind is that what I've been doing that work-life course as an instructor for certain parts for a while already, and then maybe it could be something that could open up a bit more like what the Finnish trade unions do and how the labor market works. If we would organize some type of a in-depth webinar focused on that. And Nina is really good on career services part and helping support people in that sense. That could maybe be something to kind of like better in a concrete way show what we're doing and how we're helping, and maybe also like then for some who see it and understand it better can be a motive to then become a member of the trading union where you fit. And then the mentoring thing, this is just an idea, but we have these mentoring programs, both like quick mentoring a couple of times and then the like longer ones that are 6 months long. Is if we could kind of like mix a thing where we would have perhaps a mentoring program where people who are Finnish members of us would like to be like mentors for international talent could opt for being mentors in English mentorships, and then like kind of like connect that, because then you would have both the networking and the mentorship parts. And if the experience from that would be good, then it could be something maybe that we could first pilot and then see if it works. But yeah, that's maybe the main points, and any suggestions on how we can do our things better is also highly appreciated. But I think we're a bit over time. So for those people who have a really quick timetable and have to go, I want to thank for my part. And if there's someone who still wants to contact us later on, we'll send these. You can check mine or Nina's contact information, be in contact. And if there's someone who wants to stay and talk a bit more, then that's an option here right now. But thanks.
Yeah, and thank you, Ted, for sharing all the what we have been doing and the reasons for our partnership, because we see that, as Karo mentioned, we have so much similar vision and goals, and we both can help each other. And this is a great way to, increase our reach, network, and also the impact we create on the society. So thank you so much. Welcome to the IWWOF family, and we can still have our behind the scenes after this, and we can still stay and have a little chat if there are people who want to talk. But Karo, do you want to say some last words, and then we can finish today's session?
No, just thank you very much for Ted and Nina, and then our audience also for already asking some questions and raising some claps around, for instance, the mentoring you just mentioned. And let's continue now offline for a few minutes, but this is the end of our recorded session for today, and now we go behind the scenes. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much.